Listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We've still got about 5 minutes. Judy, if you're there.
Hi there. Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great.
We are going to get started in just a second here. Let's see here. Welcome, everybody. Give us a few minutes to get started. Hopefully, everybody is having a great day. All right. So all of you, if you can use that little that question section, if you want to ask us any questions or tell us where you're from, what you hope to get out of today, that would be awesome. We've got Coach Judy Lador here. Today we're going to be talking to you about recruiting in 2021 and what that's going to look like. So definitely either use the chat or the Q&A there to let us know you're here and where you're from, what you hope to get out of today. That would be wonderful. We're going to be taking questions at the end. I know this is it's been a stressful roller coaster-y kind of year for everyone, so we totally understand. Got a few more minutes here, so bear with us as we wait for everyone to show up. Good afternoon. Oh, we got Anne Marie. She's a new Profitable Recruiter member. Hi, Anne. I know we've got lots more on the line, so do let us know you're here, where you're from. If you're a new recruiter, if you've been at it for a while. I know we've had lots of calls in the last, especially in the last month, of how do we position ourselves for 2021. We've got brokers adding new members. A lot of brokers are taking advantage of bringing their admins into the play and allowing them to help them set up like their Monday morning wake-up call emails and staying positioned. Mike said, "Hi, Judy. Welcome to the South. I hope you love Kentucky."
Oh, gosh. Well, it's definitely a little more laid back. I'm relaxing a little bit more here in Kentucky. That's great.
It's a little different speed than Chicago, right?
It really is, right? It's not bad. I'm kind of getting used to it.
I like it. And I see that your mom's doing well, so that's cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. She's hanging in there. She's a trooper.
If you're just coming on the line, we're going to get started in just a minute. Judy, are you ready to rock and roll?
Sure, let's do it, Julie.
All right, we're going to be recording this. So welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be talking with Coach Judy Lador about recruiting, planning, and navigating change in the year ahead.
And Julie, I cannot see your screen yet.
Oh, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can. Right. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I was just waiting.
There you go. All right, Judy. Well, let's get started and just talk a little bit about what you've seen this year. What you're hearing from brokers, what you're hearing from recruiters, what's making headlines in terms of the kind of calls that you're getting.
Well, it's been a roller coaster year. We've been talking about that each month. We've had to kind of change our focus each month because each month brokers, obviously throughout the whole year, were met with various challenges, whether it was shutdowns or being re-shut down or open up, and, agents being fearful of moving, then of course, record-breaking months. I mean, there's no way that anyone could predict anything that we've seen happen this year. What's happening now, which is really interesting though, is typically agents' business is kind of slow in December. This year, agents are still incredibly busy in December. December looks like April in most years. And So that's pretty frustrating for brokers because they're accustomed to getting in front of agents right now and talking about their plans for the New Year's, but agents are still really, really busy. So first off, I want to say don't get discouraged. If agents keep canceling, some of our best, the best agents out there are canceling on brokers 3, 4, 5, 6 times before they actually get together with them. Agents do want to, like their priority is meeting with their buyers and sellers, getting their deals closed out, things of that nature. And so, we are definitely seeing a lot of the brokers calling us and saying, is there anything else I can do to get in front of the agents? A great example is, I'm not sure if he's a member or not, so I won't really mention any names, but I had a broker in Ohio that you would recognize too, I think, Julie. And he called me up because he had a top producing agent, like a $70 million agent.
Wow.
And a husband and wife team that was going to make a move the 1st of January, but due to something like 10 or 15 sales that were still pending in December, the wife was supposed to move over the 1st of December, and then she kind of was chickening out a little bit because someone said, well, if you tell the broker that the wife's moving over but you're not, the broker will probably terminate you and you'll lose all your deals. How do we handle this? We need to get the wife on board now. So, I said, I don't know. I said, well, just be honest with them. Just tell the broker that, you're looking, they're looking to make a move, and that, their plan is to have the wife move first, try it out for 30 days. If they like it, you'll both be moving. And if the wife doesn't like it, she'll move back to the other company. And so he said, great idea. And an hour later, I got the email that the wife was all signed up and they loved that idea. And the truth is, if she's not happy in the first 30 days, then they might stay where they're at. But right now, their plans are to move over. So what's happening is a lot of the calls I'm getting are like, oh, they were supposed to sign up today. And then, here's what's happening. So I think it's just because, we see this sometimes in a normal year, otherwise normal year in April, we see brokers reaching out to us saying, I can't get them to move because of the level of business that they currently have going on. And, sometimes they have to, just kind of wait and be a little patient. So I think we're going to see a lot more movement take place, like the end of December, 1st of January. We're going to see a lot of movement taking place then as agents are closing out stuff. But I think it's going to just roll over, quite honestly, Julie. I think our market's going to stay strong. All the way through December, everything we're seeing says it'll just start off strong and keep going. So I don't think the brokers should be waiting. I think they got to stay in position with the agents and just figure out what's it going to take to get that business moved over. I just don't know that we see a break in the action.
I don't either. In fact, that's the bulk of the calls that I'm taking, fielding from recruiters is just that, how are we bringing people on, but also just how do we systemize what we're doing here a little bit, right? And that's why we talk about having the Monday morning emails, where it's just like farming, right? Recruiting is just like farming. Your idea is to stay in front of agents,
right,
with not a heavy sales pitch, because frankly, nobody wants to be heavily sold, especially in today's world, right? What agents are looking for, and there are a lot of agents that are looking right now to make a change. Right. They're looking to make a change in the beginning of the year. So what is it that your company offers that makes you attractive? Right now, agents want support, they want technology, and they want training. Like those are the top 3 things that brokers really need to offer to make them attractive in a marketplace. And agents also want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to feel connected. So that's a big, you got on here. We're going to talk about consumers getting into real estate and about new people flooding into the market, and because they're looking for new career opportunities. A lot of people are out of work, right? So real estate has really become a new career path for a lot of people. And what's interesting about that is people are coming in from other industries that have already had to work with a lot of technology, right? So they're better equipped in that regard than some agents that have been in for 20 years, right? So it's those agents that have leaned in and have adopted to learning the technology they need to succeed in this business. So let's talk
Right.
about that a little bit, because a lot of brokers were only interested in top producers or only interested in experienced agents. So let's talk a little bit about the flood of new agents that are coming into the market.
Gosh, I've never seen anything like it in the United States and Canada both. We have schools, colleges, different places that basically have shut off the number of people that can even get into licensing. They are flooded. There's a big organization in Canada that basically said they've never hit this number of people, trying to apply for a license and get into real estate. So COVID is doing that. We see a lot of nurses, teachers, first responders, different people, waiters, waitresses whose jobs have been either shut down, they've been impacted. Everybody has just kind of decided that, you know what, real estate looks good to me right now. And there's a couple of things. So it's COVID, and it's the fact that we've had such a strong real estate market since the summer. So the consumer sees that every single sign that goes up sells within a day. They hear from everyone they know that, hey, you know what, it's pretty easy to be making a lot of money in real estate right now. Of course, there's far more to it than they know. But the strong real estate market in COVID is driving consumers in record numbers. Now, if you as a broker want to see how easy it is to pick up some new people, and again, these are insurance agents with books of business, financial advisors with books of business, teachers who have taught everyone's kids and know the consumers. These are people that have really good contacts starting. All you have to do is place an ad on your Facebook page, your personal Facebook page, and just say, have you ever considered a career in real estate? If so, we're hiring. The most important thing when you are talking about a job opportunity for someone is actually to tell that there's no experience necessary and that you will train them for the position. So for example, if I'm a nurse and I'm unhappy with my job, I typically think in terms of I have to stick with nursing because that's my education background. And most job fields are the way. Well, in real estate, we don't need any of that. People don't realize it. So if you tell them that, and you can also give an income potential, so you can think in terms of how much money would a full-time real estate agent be making maybe by their third year in the business. And so that when you meet with them, you can say, look, you got to build your business. You got to go at it full-time. It has to be a career path. You have to enjoy working with people. But, within 3 years, if you do all the right things, you could be earning $75,000 a year, $100,000 a year, whatever number in your marketplace is applicable. But if you put the ad on your Facebook page, and if you want to boost the response, take your phone and create a small video that says exactly the same thing. Hey everyone, happy holidays. As we approach the end of 2020, a lot of people are looking for a different career path in 2021. I want you to know that we are currently hiring, new agents to be trained to sell real estate. No experience necessary. We'll train you. Income potential, in excess of this within just a few years of starting. If you or anyone wants to do something different in 2021, please let me know. The comments, the responses, the shares that I've been witnessing, people are sharing those with me every single day, is unbelievable, Julie.
So you come in like the job search sites like Indeed and those kind of sites as well. Brokers are putting ads in, and just word of mouth too.
Your letters for right now, everyone's getting ready to send out a holiday letter to their whole client database. If you put the insert in there, by the way, and you do the same language in your letter to your database, everyone in the world has what's called a closed circle of 10, which means that on a regular basis, you're talking to 10 people consistently. Well, if 250 people get your message and their circle of 10 means that 2,500 people get instantly reached. So if you're positioned, and that's one of the key things, if you're positioned to recruit new agents into your organization and to train and coach them, then I definitely recommend that you pursue some of the different avenues to grab onto some of the consumers that are coming into real estate right now.
I agree. And as long as we have LinkedIn up here, I know it's a little off topic, but I was just speaking with a recruiter 2 days ago who is just really setting up her system, really setting up how she's going to approach recruiting, you know, starting now. She's not waiting until January, starting right now. What do I do? I'm going to position myself with that Monday message every week, but what else can I do? And one of the things that we were talking about, and I love this idea, is taking 5 minutes every morning to go into LinkedIn, to look at anybody that your agents have co-broked with, that have had a good experience, and going in and writing a recommendation for that agent. 5 minutes every morning to just write something positive and about that agent. Guarantee probably their own broker hasn't done that, right?
Exactly.
5 minutes to make sure that you're going in and putting recommendations on your own agents, your current team of agents. Just spending that 10 minutes a day is going to make a huge impact on your presence and your branding and who you are as a broker and as a company. Because
Right.
say, when we go back and say that agents want to be seen and appreciated and heard, that's one little way that takes 10 minutes of your day to make sure that your current team knows that you care and that your potential prospects know that you care.
Great suggestion.
So I that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, as we are at the end of the year, I always encourage every broker to really take a hard, good, honest look at what you need to do different in 2021, and how you did in 2020. Now, again, 2020 had more than its share of challenges. Some agents left because they were just tired of it. They're like, I'm out of here. But here's the rule of thumb for you as a broker. If you start off the year, let's say with 100 agents, we'll just make the numbers easy for everyone. If you lost between 0 and 10 agents, you're really doing an awesome job, because market research shows that every company is going to lose up to 10% of their agents, not to do anything that they need to change or do wrong. It's some agents aren't going to make it in real estate. Some are going to die. Some are going to get sick. I mean, there's things that are out of our control. And if you look and you're less than 10% of your agent count you lost, you're probably doing okay. It doesn't mean that you're not going to look at same things we ask you to do, but anytime you're between 10 and 20%, then you look for the common denominator for the loss. It could be that, and it's funny because when I do this with brokers, they'll say, well, there were 17 agents who didn't make it because they just couldn't make it in real estate. They weren't making any money, so it's not my fault. Well, that's not true. I mean, if you had 17 people, new agents that didn't make it, then there is a solution for that, okay? Whether it's doing a better job of bringing them on board, or training or coaching or mentoring, so you could fix it. If you lost 20 to 30% of your base, then there's definitely room for improvement from a retention standpoint. There's some things going on in that organization. So again, Julie and I both take a look at organizations, try to help them get back on track. And if you're losing more than 30% of your people, something needs to change. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of companies out there who basically operate in a numbers game. They just massively hire a bunch of new ones, and they will tell you up front that their attitude is, hey, you know what, you throw them all against the wall, a certain number of them will stick. The ones that don't, we sweep them out the door, we replace them with others. And that's almost word for word what I hear a lot. That's okay. If that's your way of operating and you're okay with that, then you might not think something has to change. But to me, there's a lot of resources that get used, and a lot of finances that, and a lot of business that your company might be losing that you don't even know, because if you're bringing the wrong agents on board and they're out talking to consumers on listing presentations, and they're losing those listing presentations because they're not being trained properly or coached properly, then every time one of those agents loses a listing to the competition, you lost business and market share. So, I'm always of the attitude of, let's try to bring the right ones in. So once you go through this list, then what you do is you list your top 3 reasons that agents left, the top 3 companies that they went to if they went to another company, and then we take a look at some possible solutions which we're going to look at to implement in 2020, so that you can kind of prevent those additional losses. Julie, you want to jump in here? What are some of the reasons the top reasons that that you hear agents leaving companies?
Uh, support is a big one.
Yeah.
Lack of technology and
Hmm.
feeling like that was a huge one this year, right? Because agents had a steep learning curve. You know, I'm set down. I can only do virtual. How do I do virtual? My broker's not helping me. I don't know anything about virtual. So it's brokers that have provided that kind of support and training. You know, and and that's not even something you have to. The resources are out there. You know, I work with Daryl Davis as well, and that's one of the things he just started doing weekly webinars for agents, and that was a big topic of conversation was, okay, how do you do virtual training? How do you do a virtual open house? You know, how do you have that virtual conversation? What does prospecting look like for the agent? So if you're providing that kind of training and that kind of support, then agents are more likely to stay with you because they feel like, okay, I've got an anchor here, right? I've got a means. If I don't know how to do something, I've got somebody that can help me with that. You know, my broker cares enough to make sure that those things are in place. And that was
Right.
probably the biggest thing that I heard was my broker just, you know, the broker didn't shift, right? So you say, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong. So in a lot of cases, the broker didn't shift. In other words, the broker was brick and mortar and, you know, didn't know how to change and didn't jump in fast enough, didn't pivot fast enough to deliver those training, that technology aspect, the technology and the hand holding. There was a lot more hand holding, I think, for brokers this year because agents were scared, right? Agents were freaking out that I've never done it that way, you know, and taking that whole, oh, that's not the way it's always been done. Well, that's okay, you know, leaning in and saying, you know what, we were born to do this. You know, real estate agents have been transacting real estate transactions long distance for forever.
Right.
I mean, we have international agents that were, you know, selling overseas sight unseen. That, you know, so it just takes that shift in mindset, that shift in perception, but definitely that feeling from a broker. It's kind of like a parent, right? The calmer you are as a parent, the calmer your child's going to be. So it's kind of like that with agents as well, right? The calmer you are as a broker, as an organization, as a leader, the more you're like, we got this, we're going to do it together, let's go, let's try this, let's do this, we're going to, you know, and the more you're adaptive to change, the more you're rolling with the punches, then the more likely your agents will do the same, right?
Well, I will say this, Julie, you're exactly right. And that is the number for all the recruiters that I'm coaching and working with. The number one thing that they're telling me with regard to the top producers that they're getting, I mean, really, really top producers, is that they're going back to a company that will provide that support for them because they really figured out what it meant to be without support for some of them this past year. And so a lot of agents went back, and I'll tell you, I'm so proud. So many brokers did a great job of offering up that continual support and communication this year. And many of the brokers that I'm talking to right now have had their best year for retention in 2020. So go figure, it's kind of like, I think between the Zoom calls, like some of them were connected daily and every week. Agents saw more of their brokers, you know, our brokers that did a great job in 2020 than they've ever seen them before. So it was actually interesting to watch these companies come together, these teams come together, the sharing, the networking, everything that happened. And agents who didn't have that are out looking for a different company for 2021. So brokers who stepped up to the plate did really well in 2020 from a retention standpoint.
I love it. And from a standpoint, because those agents are leaving other companies for that exact reason. So if they know that you are offering these things and that you are the support team and that you are, you know, you do care, that's a big
right. Oh, Julie, I just lost you. Are you there, Julie?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So your screen went out for a while, and then we lost you, but we're back. Great. So here's what the next step. Once you've identified where they go and why they go, You know, I usually, if I'm working with a broker, and you guys can do this really easy on your own, but sometimes it actually helps to do it as a team. So I would say if you can get 2 or 3 people in your leadership team together and everyone say, hey, let's be brutally honest here because we're just looking to improve. What's the solution? Meaning that if you lost a lot of agents and they didn't go to any particular company and there's no particular reason, they just, you know, hopping around or whatever, you know, you either might need to improve your overall hiring process or recruiting process, or be a lot more selective with the right new agents, you know, that are coming on board. Because sometimes, so some brokers have the shotgun approach to recruiting, meaning anybody that'll agree to join, they'll bring on board. But if that agent is a real good fit for your company, if they aren't looking for the things or appreciate the tools and resources that you have to offer, then they're going to go off somewhere else too. So if you take a little extra time and you recruit agents in that want what you have to offer, it's going to be a lot better.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of brokers, they're not clear on what they offer. They're not clear on what makes them different, right? So
yeah, so you definitely have to
start there. What's it that we bring? What value do we bring to the table?
Yeah, so you start with that, and then you decide, okay, for example, you know, I've had brokers say, well, I want the millennial agent. So I say, great, do you have the office that's designed to attract those agents? Do you have the technology in place for those agents? Do you even know what sort of leadership they want? And then when, you know, when they look at me and say, geez, no, it's like, well, if you have to take the time first to put them in place, because if you don't put the things in place to attract and retain millennial agents, you'll just have a revolving door. Or, you know, well, I want to attract the high-end luxury agents. Well, that's great. So what tools do you have that they'll need to secure luxury listings? What sort of forums will they be able to participate in? So when you think about a lot of the agents that you might want, whether it's teams, luxury agents, millennial agents, there is an infrastructure that has to be in place in your company in order to not only attract those agents, but also retain them once you have attracted them.
Well, and that gives you taking the time now, right, even before we go into the new year, to really look at what value do we bring as a company? What makes us special? What differentiates us in our market? You know, what does our best team member look like, right? When you can identify those first, that actually gives you more confidence when you're making recruiting calls, when you are chatting up, you know, an agent, when you're reaching out via email, when you're doing all of those things, you have more confidence when you know where you stand, right? When you know this is what makes us special.
Exactly.
It comes out even without even saying the words, you know, that our agents earn 15% more than our competitors' agents, or, you know, here we've got a support system in the training that makes a difference, and, you know, that we can make sure that as a new agent, you can get up and running within the first 90 days. You know, if you've got some of those things, then making those calls feels a lot less intimidating because you've got the confidence, because you know what you bring to the table, right?
Exactly. And who was it? Was it Benjamin Franklin who said that when you fail to plan, you're planning to fail?
Yep, exactly.
And so, you know, that's basically that's what we're talking about here, is that first put the plan in place. Okay. So, you know, it's only December, you know, and so if you know what it is that maybe you need to improve on next year, or what it is that you need to add to your arsenal, then put that in place first, put the plan in place, and then you'll be able to better attract those people, because you took the time to get your resources in place first.
Yep, Mike says coaching is what agents want now. And
you know what? Absolutely. Yeah.
And they want to feel like, you know, they've got a resource to help them with the challenges that they're facing right now.
I totally agree with that, Mike. And, you know, I think coaching probably went right to the top of list of things in 2020 that agents realized that they needed. So again, what's a coach do? It helps coach you through situations that are stressful for you. You don't know quite what to do. And agents this year were like, help, I need someone to help me out here. So coaching was definitely really important. And And again, if you're recruiting a lot of new agents in, there might, you might need to even add an additional person to your team, an accountability coach, or again, someone whose role is specifically designed to coach agents, because, that's what 2020 taught us, is that when things shift, when things change, then we have to slow down and learn how to reinvent ourselves. And we did a great job as an industry, but it was a stressful few months while we were trying to figure out how to do it right.
Well, it really showed the people that that were willing to lean in, and the people, both from a management standpoint and from an agent standpoint, right?
Yeah.
I know agents that have had their best year ever because
Right.
they leaned in, they got the coaching that they needed, they adopted technology, they didn't shy away from it. I mean, we saw people leave the industry in droves because they weren't going to learn Zoom, right? I'm not going to, I can't do that. That's crazy. That's, well, you know, sometimes those the crazy ideas that's that innovation, that willingness to step up and into change. I mean,
Yeah.
that is what separates, the people that are going to make it and the people that aren't. So, kudos if that's something that's high on your list and that's something that you've been actively providing, whether you've got a team member that is coaching or whether you're popping agents into ready-made coaching systems or ready-made training, technology training and that kind of thing. Depending on the size of your brokerage, there's a lot of people that are like, I can't, I don't have the budget for that. There are so many solutions for giving your agents what they need that don't require a budget, right? What it does require is your commitment to find the resources agents need to grow and expand and to stay in the business and to continuously think outside of the box, right? If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that anything can happen, right? Like just when we start to, okay, we're going to lean in. Oh, no, we're going to change. We're going to move this way. Oh, no, we're going to change this way. Like it has been a year for constant change.
Yeah.
We're
And let me go back and kind of reconcile something you said, Julie, because I always try to remind brokers of this, but I think you just said it and I want to restate it. You don't have to know how to do everything as a brokerage, and you don't have to offer everything, but you do have to be the resource for your team. So you have to know where to find those resources, where to find those systems or tools. Daryl Davis is doing a great job out there with agents right now. So like I said, Daryl Davis is a resource. Brokers right now are like, well, I don't have time to meet with the people every week. Well, you know what? There are people out there that will meet with your team each week and keep them on track. So, don't think in terms of, wait, I can't do it all. Look for the solutions that are needed for your team to operate effectively, efficiently right now.
And plug those things in and plug them in before January so that when you're making those calls and you're really looking at putting your plan together for the new year, here's what we're telling you, here's what agents need. Make sure that you're offering that, whether you're building that an in-house system or whether you are plugging them in to something that's already out there and manageable and affordable. You need to make sure your 2021 plan includes being that resource for agents and then branding yourself as the brokerage that is providing those resources, right? And getting the word out. And as a new manager, many of the agents that were there before went to referral recently. They were non-performing agents. That happens, and you're taking on a team that was there before, so that is part of your job, is to kind of look at who's there and look at the agent profile that you want to recruit. What are the positives, and start leaning in the direction. Judy, one of my favorite things to tell brokers is a strategy that you've shared many times, and that is your business card technique, right? Where you go to every member of your team, and maybe that's a virtual conversation in some areas rather than physically walking down to an office or a bullpen, right? But one of my favorite things to tell brokers to do is when you're looking to make that hit list, the top thing you should be doing on making that recruiting hit list is to make sure that you're going to every agent on your current team and asking them, who are the 2 to 5 agents that you've had co-broke with this year that you had a great experience with, and why? What was that experience look like? Were they super professional? Were they fun to work with? Were they on top of it? Were they super organized? What was that? So, for me, it'd be okay. I worked with Joe Smith, and he was just great. He was on top of it. All the paperwork was done. I never had to chase him down. So tell me a little bit about 3 to 5 agents that you've worked with this year, or that in the marketplace that are just crushing it, that are not just production wise, but in terms of professionalism, in terms of being on the ball, in terms of having that hunger, having a great personality. So who have you worked with? And then that's the start of that's the biggest part of your list, right? Those are the agents that now you have a reason to call them. And I love that idea.
Thank you. Well, they're more likely to recruit good agents in if they're being recommended by your existing agent. So it kind of goes back to number one: are you bringing the right people on board, and are they going to stay? And another big thing I think I just want brokers to think about too is, and all of the things here at the bottom kind of tying together, is that sometimes I hear brokers, they got this little recruiting pitch. They just kind of go through everything that they've got as a company, and the expectation that gets set is not necessarily one that's going to evolve as the agent moves into the office. And so I think it's really important that when you're in an interview with an agent, that you do identify what it is that they need, why they need it, present those tools that they need currently in their system, and then commit to them that when they join, you'll work with them one-on-one to make sure that they learn how to use those new tools and systems, that you connect them with the right people to bring those things into their business, and keep following up to make sure that if they joined your office because they wanted to be more efficient, and you've got the tools to do it, but they just join your office and they don't do anything, which is typical. Agents just make a move, they start doing what they've always done, then their business doesn't change. If their business doesn't change, they find themselves thinking, geez, you know what, this feels like my last office. I'm still doing the things I always did. So as a broker, you have a chance in the interview to identify what it is that they want to be different, and to make sure that is in place. And we hear brokers all the time saying, well, I have all these tools, but no one's using them. And the only reason an agent doesn't use a tool that you have is that they don't really see the value behind it. And one of the easiest ways for brokers to make sure that every agent sees the value of their tools, as well as your in-office tools or things that your organization is providing, is to show the results that others have experienced when they use those tools. So if you've got a great marketing department, but 10% of your agents are using that marketing department, that's a great resource, but it just means that 90% of your agents don't understand the value behind it. So maybe one of the things to do in 2021 is to spend more time making sure that every agent that you have is engaged with your tools, or look for your best testimonials to share with people, so that they can suddenly say, wow, you know what, it's a lot easier staying in front of my clients, by using the marketing program that's in place, or this is a lot easier to secure listings by utilizing this tool. Because when your agents can look back on their listings and sales throughout the course of the year, and they know that your brand, your tools, your technology, your coaching was responsible for a huge part of your success, that's the best thing you can do to ensure that you retain agents. And likewise, and we hear this a lot, Julie, the most dangerous thing you can ever hear from an agent is, I don't use anything that my company provides. I'm doing my own thing. And when they are out there as the Lone Ranger operating, and they truly believe that there's nothing that you provide for them that's of value, you will eventually lose that agent. Like, they'll tell you, look, I don't need anything, I do my own thing. But that's a very dangerous thing to have happening within your organization.
And that's really where it's your job as the broker, right? To make sure to keep your ear to the ground, and to have the pulse of what agents are using, what they're not using. And if they are seeking out outside resources, what are those resources, and why are they seeking them out? What are you not bringing to the table? I often equate that to like a website, right? If a website has stickability, it normally is because they're bringing on, they're changing, they're adapting to whatever's going on in the market, whatever's going on in the world. Having the ability to do that and to bring on new pieces, that's just smart, and it's just staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And sometimes I know when Ann said, sometimes you acquire an office, you acquire a team, and half the people are deadbeats. And I've been there before, so I know what that feels like. But I will tell you that half the time, the reason that they're not doing anything is they were never really taught to engage with the tools and resources. And, you can meet with them one-on-one and offer to restart their real estate career and treat them like a new agent. Sometimes you can salvage a few. But any agent that will use the tools, resources, and that are available to them is far more likely to succeed than someone who's just out there, showing up when they feel like it and working their, small little database.
Exactly. All right, G, let's talk a little bit about what brokers can expect in 2021.
Well, here's what 2020 taught us. Like, who knows, right? You do have to be prepared for anything. I mean, we don't know. Honestly, we're not through COVID yet. We don't know really what 2021 is going to hold. I always say, you know what, you can't control the storm, but you can definitely adjust your sails. And so what that means is, we did that in 2020. We adjusted the way we did business. We changed the way that, we conducted open houses when we could conduct them. We changed the way that we showed properties. We changed the way we listed properties. And now we've developed a comfort level with all of that stuff. I mean, we don't like it, but we definitely know how to do it. We know how to do a Zoom interview. We know how to, or Zoom listing presentation. We know how to do Zoom open houses. I mean, we've learned how to coexist with COVID. So that's not going to be the challenge in 2021. I think the challenge in 2021 is one, what's 2021 going to hold, with regard to those changes. And, you've got a lot of tools, I said, within your company, even within the profitable sales agent. Maybe Julie, kind of go through some of the tools that we've got there for agents to use, because, that will keep them connected to their clients. And I think as you move into 2021, just staying connected with your clients and utilizing the resources within your brokerage, as well as those that you have within our arsenal, are going to be really important.
I think number one going into 2021 is that you've got to, you as a leader, as your leadership team, you have to project that flexibility, that agility, that ability to take on change, not be afraid of it, kind of be ahead of it, so that as your agents are looking to you for help, you've got those answers. So you've got to be in the front line of looking for those resources, and if or finding resources that are doing that heavy lifting, so that you can point your agents to them. As you said a little while ago, Judy, you don't have to rebuild all the wheels. You just have to tap into resources that are out there that can help you, right? So one of the things that our members use, we have a Monday morning wake up call. It's an e-newsletter that you set to go out. We put it up the last week of every month, for the month ahead. The great thing about that is it's totally a non-salesy, non-threatening way to stay in front of the agents in your market once a week, every Monday morning. You set it to go out at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. It goes out to a broad spectrum of agents in your market. And it's just a nice, thoughtful message that keeps you front and center, keeps you top of mind, and makes them feel, okay, well, this broker cares. This person's in it, right? So they're not trying to sell me, but they're offering something of value to me every week. The second thing that we offer is that broker challenge. So you've got both a retention challenge and a recruiting challenge each week that taps into that message, right? So the nice thing about that is that you put that on your calendar every Sunday, right, or Monday morning, and now that's your focus for the week. What do I need to do this week? So it takes some of the pressure off you to say, okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do this week, right? Which direction do I turn? So we kind of keep you on pace with that. We also have the Profitable Sales Agent newsletters, which you can give to your agents to customize so that they then have something that they can send out to the buyers and sellers in their sphere. So that keeps them top of mind with that, right? We also have so many webinars on demand that is in the system. So you can go in and once a week, it's important for you to stay clear. Once a week you can go in and do some learning on the side. Listen, we've got almost 8 hours of recruiting coaching that you can listen to, you can tap into. So just like you need your agents to be able to continuously be fine-tuning their skills and growing in their skill set, you need to do the same, because one, you're leading by example when you're doing that, right? But two, you're sharpening your skills. You're becoming a better communicator. You're becoming a better recruiter. You're becoming a better manager by tapping into those resources. And ask, what does an example of a good LinkedIn recommendation would look like? Well, and for me, I think one of the best ways to do is when you're talking to your current agents about who they've co-broked with, you're going to be asking them, okay, what stood out to you? So if it was their professionalism, or that they were on the ball, or that they really were good about communication. So those are the things that you're going to bring into your LinkedIn recommendation, right? Like, oh, Sally Jones was an amazing resource, co-broked recently with one of our agents, did an amazing job, was always on the ball, total professional, great job. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just link it to whatever your agent said. So something simple, something quick, something you do, you can take 2 or 5 agents a day and or even one, and just go in there and write a little something. And that's really going to make you stand out in your market.
The other thing with regard to LinkedIn too is that Rhonda Shear, and she just did a webinar this last month, and she's in California. But if you research Rhonda Shear, LinkedIn Diva, it's SHER, I believe, or EAR maybe, Rhonda Shear. She does a lot of individualized coaching and working with brokers and recruiters and agents to have a really productive LinkedIn account. So just one quick little tip there that anyone that's looking to learn more about LinkedIn can look at.
Yeah.
And Julie, as I mentioned before, I have to jump off because I do have another call at 1:45, so I'm going to have to jump off real quick. So I'm going to let you finish it up, but I do want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season, and you know what? Let's embrace 2021, because I think it's going to be great.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us today, Judy. And you guys can reach us at any time at theprofitablerecruiter.com. Just to close us out, we do have some resources for you. We have a 50% promotion off of the Profitable Recruiter. So if you wanted to go there and learn more about what we do and how we help brokers stay top of mind with agents in their market. If you have questions for us, there's a contact. We always have a email support for our members. We also have recently integrated with the Exact Recruiter program, and that gives you a free 60-day trial of the CRM. I know we've often had brokers ask us about what CRM is the best CRM to use, and so we've worked with the Exact Recruiter folks to give you that. There's more information on our blog about that. And lastly, our friend Daryl Davis, if you go, I don't have that link up here, but if you go to www.daryl, D-A-R-R-Y-L, Speaks, S-P-E-A-K-S, Daryl is providing weekly free training for agents. And he's got a coaching platform as well. So that's a powerful tool that is ready-made. You can plug your agents into. I've talked to a lot of our members who don't have the capacity to put entire training and coaching systems in place for their agents. So that's a plug and play way to make sure that your agents are getting what they need in terms of training and coaching, without you having to rebuild any wheels. So if you've got any questions, I'll stay for a couple minutes here, and you can use that Q&A panel to ask any questions you might have, and I will try to get this answered for you. I appreciate everybody being here today. I hope everybody's having a safe and happy holiday season. And just being here tells me that you're committed to your team, you're committed to your organization, and you're committed to being a stronger, better advocate and manager for your team. don't see any questions, so I guess we will say goodbye. I appreciate all of you being here today. Like I said, go to theprofitablerecruiter.com. If you have any questions for us, just use the contact form, and we're happy to help. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.